Hi everyone, I'm out here with Cinderella and I am in my greenhouse. Even with both doors open in the greenhouse, we're sitting at about 29 degrees Celsius, about 85 degrees Fahrenheit in here. So she's had some toasty times since we last fed her, smeared that toilet roll with more food. So not surprising, her brown paper is crunchy again. So I'm hoping the moisture down the bottom is still going to be there. And she actually had a couple cool days in the garage. So she's been on a little bit of a tour. So my goal here is to just do a feeding. We're just trying to maintain my bins. Oh, and these are all the cocoons. The cocoons are going to love the heat in the greenhouse here. I bet we're going to be seeing, look at the cocoons. We're going to be seeing a baby explosion as well when I get into this bin. So let's feed her up. We need to keep things moving forward. So last time I noted there were lots of cocoons. This is the time that I fed Cinderella a meal in a box. A really quick way, just some torn up napkins, some previously frozen food scraps, some eggshell grit all mixed in there, and I pushed the moist vermicompost on top, and then I finished it off with the feeding zone indicator. So now back to present day. All right, so there's Prince Charming, my adorable worm feeding zone indicator. And so this obviously is the zone with the toilet paper. All this crunchy carbon is, I'll try to remember to get that down the bottom of whatever feeding zone I create today around the toilet roll so that we have some nice distribution of the moisture. All right, so I'll put the dry crunchy bit over there. Let's dig up this toilet roll and see how Cinderella did with that last feeding. All right, so now you see worms crawling in and around. Oh, lots of babies. So definitely this heat is going to help all these cocoons that I keep finding in Cinderella. They're going to help them mature and the wisps come out. Still great moisture in here despite the hot temperatures. In fact, compared to last time, I would say mildly less moist. But look at all the worms in Cinderella around the feeding zone. They're just having a great old time. Look at Landon's haircut and the worms. So if you're ever worried about putting, they don't like the bright light here in the greenhouse. If you're ever worried about putting human hair in a worm bin, don't worry. Oh, this looks like a big strip of toilet paper came peeling off. Don't worry about human hair going in a worm bin. You know, our hair, you know, quite frankly, has a lot of bacteria on it. And what do worms like eating? They like eating bacteria. So they will be all over it. So what I'm trying to do is just get a gap right down to the bottom here so that I can put that dry, crunchy carbon. Try to reach over beyond. You can hear it, the crunchy stuff. Get it down the bottom. That will at least help with some moisture distribution. Now, Cinderella's in the greenhouse and I have to be careful about the temperatures in here. Oh, there's her lace. That doesn't have to go in the feeding zone. To be careful with the temperatures in here because, this is not the temperature of the vermicompost. The temperature of the vermicompost, I'm sorry I don't have a thermometer on it, but I can tell you just by reaching with my hands, it is considerably less than 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 degrees Celsius. So I'm not, right now I'm not worried, especially since this bin has good moisture. The moisture is going to help moderate the temperature swings. If this bin was dry, the vermicompost would take on the ambient temperature in greater measure. So I would be more worried if I was seeing the bin drying out. And so I have to be careful that the bin doesn't dry out because she's going to live in the greenhouse for a little while longer until we get some viewings done. So just turning the toilet roll over. I hope you can see there's cocoons sitting right on it, worms crawling in and around the toilet paper. So that goes down the bottom. And I think I've got a little bit more crunchy browns to put right there. And now I'm going to give her some food. This is really stinky, quite moist food actually. I don't have time to mess with this in terms of giving one worm bin, preferred food. Cinderella's going to get what she gets. And so this is moist food, so that'll help keep the moisture up. And then for Carbon today, I actually got her a tub of our compost, which she's going to love. Probably actually has worms in it, I'm not sure. It's mostly finished compost. It was the stuff spilling out. Yeah, there's worms. There's a worm right there. And then she's got all this old stuff here that she's still working on. The toilet roll is doing great, starting to break up. Feeding zone indicator goes in this corner now. I'm going to bury those tamale because they're not going to disappear. They're not going to disappear if they're dry. So I'm going to tuck them down. So there I go. Cinderella's done. Worms are happy. Everybody's just hanging on, waiting for us to sell this house, and we'll find a new home for Landon, me, and all these beautiful worms. All right, bye everyone.